Hi there. This video this week is going to be pretty short. I just want to talk briefly about the composition that's due this week. This is our first composition for the course, so I wanted to hopefully hit off any questions that you might have about it. And mostly I just want to reassure you that I do really want this to be super simple. This isn't a piece of creative writing to kind of reaffirm what the goal is of the composition is to provide you with a place to practice in as real life context as possible the vocabulary and grammar constructs that we're working on right now. So for this week, it's food and the preterite tense. So I really do want you to keep it simple. I want you to, I have part of the prompt is about what you ate yesterday. Do that because that way you can incorporate lots and lots of current vocabulary. But then there's also other things in case you can't spend 200 words talking about what you ate yesterday. You can also talk about other things that you did yesterday, and that way you're getting more and more practice with the preterite tense verb conjugations. So really do keep it simple. It's absolutely fine if it's super repetitive. I know there's the feeling that, we're in Spanish 102, it's supposed to be more complex and I'm supposed to be able to write more and all of that. And yes, to a certain extent that's true, but still, when you look at the hours you've spent so far studying Spanish, it's still fairly minimal. And I do still expect you to need to rely on familiar structures and just make use of those same familiar structures over and over again, and that's absolutely acceptable. It's not a problem at all if your composition is really repetitive at this point. So remember, you can say what you did eat and then what you didn't eat, and that's totally fine. So ayer para el desayuno yo comí huevos y pan tostado. Yo no comí cereal. One thing that you can keep in mind, and it's not cheating, it's absolutely acceptable, is you can, if you use brand names, or store names, you don't have to translate those into Spanish. So that's one way that you can actually help communicate more, because people are familiar with brand names. So you can communicate things that you might not know how to communicate otherwise. Let's say you don't remember how to say cereal, even though it's a cognate cereal. But let's say you don't. So instead, you ate Cheerios for breakfast. So you just say that. You say, ayer yo comí Cheerios para el desayuno. And that's absolutely fine. Or you don't know or can't remember how to say yogurt. So you say, ayer yo comí Yoplait. And that's perfectly acceptable to use brand names in the place of things that you don't know how to say the actual name of the product. You can do that, and that's one way, even when you're interacting with native speakers, that's something, because they'll likely be familiar with brands, and so you can communicate more than you would be able to otherwise. So again, it's not cheating, it's a coping strategy. It's a way that you communicate more than what you necessarily have the language ability to communicate. So do that. Make sure that you're using regular verbs. So there may be some things you aren't able to say, or that you have to change the way you would word it. You haven't learned the past tense for the irregular verb ir, to go. So you can't say, I went to my friend's house. So instead, you think about another way to say that. You do know the regular verb visitar as a regular AR verb. That one's easy to conjugate with the patterns that you already know. So you would say, ayer yo visité a mi amigo. And that would be a way to get around that. So think about how you can communicate what you want to say just using regular verbs in the preterite tense. And I think I already mentioned, say what is true, what you did do, and then also say what you didn't do. So ayer yo hablé con mi mamá, yo no hablé con mi hermano, yo no hablé con mis abuelos. And that's perfectly fine and a great way to extend and just get more and more practice with those structures that you're using. So I hope that helps. If you're having to look up more than, 7 to 10 words in the dictionary, then go back and see if there's a way that you can incorporate more of what you've already learned into your composition and get more practice with those things that are the current target vocabulary and grammar constructs. So I hope that helps, and I will see you all online.